is our first main topic today?
Well, John, our first main topic comes from Jesse Wood. I was wondering if you saw the Variety article about Jonah Hill stating he won't be appearing for interviews or promoting his own movies to improve his mental health. Do you think this can affect him getting roles if he won't be there to promote the movies he's starring in? I thought actors had to publicly promote their films, but I could be wrong. How do you think this could affect what parts he's offered? And do you think studios will think twice about hiring him?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Jesse Wood. Listen, Jonah Hill is really one of the more fascinating Hollywood stories. Because, listen, my first exposure to Jonah Hill was my all-time favorite comedy, 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he shows up in the We Sell Your Stuff on eBay store, and he says, I want to buy these boots, these giant glass boots with goldfish in them. And he's this really heavy, awkward-looking dude. And then he continued to get some, like, comedic roles and some comedies, like smaller bit roles. But then he started to get noticed more, and he got bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point that the dude, I believe, has 2 Academy Award nominations. Like, he's become like a really sought out, and now he directs, he produces, he's just been a guy who just got his start in the business in one kind of way and has just evolved. It's really an incredible story what he's been able to do. I've met Jonah Hill, and it's just amazing what he has been able to do. Now, that said, we have talked a lot on the show in years past about how sometimes I'll rail on some performers who don't do their jobs and get out and promote the movies they've been in. You get paid a lot of money to be in a movie. You are expected to go out there and promote that movie. It's just common sense. You should. And it's often in the contracts. Not often. It's always in the contracts. You got to do that. But Jonah Hill says he's not going to be doing that anymore, at least for the foreseeable future. And I actually have no problem with it, and I'll explain why in a second. Here's what's going on. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who wrote the following. By the way, look at Jonah Hill these days. Wrote the following. Through this journey of self-discovery, within the film, he's talking about a documentary that he's doing. It's a lot about his therapist and him. Of self-discovery with the film, I have come to the understanding that I have spent nearly 20 years experiencing anxiety attacks, which are exasperated by media appearances and public-facing events. Hill wrote about debuting the documentary Sputs at upcoming fall film festivals. The movie features Hill and his therapist openly discussing his mental health issues. You won't see me out there promoting this film or any of my upcoming films while I take this important step to protect myself, Hill continued. If I made myself sicker by going out there and promoting it, I wouldn't be acting true to myself or to the film. That, again, comes us from writing. Now, I've mentioned that I have met Jonah Hill on a couple of occasions. And I can tell you he is very uncomfortable in press situations. To the point, I remember the first time I met him, it was for 22 Jump Street, the second 21 Jump Street movie. And I remember, and I couldn't tell if he was just a dick or if he was just really uncomfortable. And then when I was at another press event, I talked to some people who've known him and have worked with them, and everybody really likes him. And then I met him at another press event, and again, it was like he was very uncomfortable. You could just tell he was. So what do I think about him saying he's not going to promote his films? I have no problem with that for 2 reasons. Number one, if you make sure the films that you're going to get involved with know in advance, it's like, hey, if you want to hire me, that's great. But as long as forthright with them and they know in advance, I won't be doing press tours for it. And I won't be doing promotion for the film. If then the producers of the film and the studios behind the film are okay with that, then that's on them. As long as he is forthright and says in advance, before we sign this contract, you got to know I won't be doing promotion. And if you're good with that, great. So yeah, then the onus is, listen, if I'm a producer making a movie, that's on me now. If I make the decision to put him in the movie, then I'm making that decision knowing he's not promoting it. And as long as we're on the same page, there's no problem. I also applaud him for taking care of himself because, like I said, I have seen it. Listen, there was comedians make jokes about it, but there were studies done where, like, just how afraid people are of doing public speaking. And there's
clearly you and I are among them.
But I'm actually more comfortable in front of, like, I'm more comfortable on the stage at Hall H talking to 6,000 people than I am talking to 2 or 3 people in a small group. It's weird. But comedians make this joke, is that if there's a funeral, more people would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. that people were more afraid of public speaking than death. So, I mean, and when I've seen Jonah Hill like physically uncomfortable, and you know what? If you recognize that and you know this is not good for me, then good for you for taking those steps to say, this is not something I should do. And if your potential employers are cool with it, then everything's kosher. Now, they asked the question, will this affect his ability to land some roles? I'm sure it will. I'm sure there will be some roles where people are going to go, we really need somebody who's going to get out there and stomp and promote the film. Sure. But I also believe a lot of other people are like, hey, you're a 2-time Academy Award nominated actor. I think just us being able to put your name on the poster is going to be fine or whatever. So will it have an effect? Yes. Will it have a huge impact? I don't think so. I don't know, Rob, you see all this. What's your takeaway from it?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge fan of Jonah Hill's. I think if you watch his performance in Moneyball or his performance in Wolf of Wall Street, you realize this is a world-class actor. I think.
What's the one he did with Miles Teller where they were arms dealers?
Oh yeah, War Dogs. Was it War Dogs?
Yeah, I think it was War Dogs. He's
a fantastic performer. He's actually quite a good director. He's directing TV now and he's directing movies. I'll tell you, I can point to something specific. I think he finally just. So there's many a YouTube clip where he's been out doing press for movies. And people bring up his weight, whether he lost weight, whether he gained weight, whatever. They talk about his weight, and that clearly bothers him.
Yeah.
And it's like, first of all, you'd think in our society where everyone is conscious of how everyone else feels, you use proper pronouns, don't say this, and yet it's okay to ask somebody, a performer, about their weight.
Constantly.
And like that's somehow okay, and the thing is, what does that have to do with your performance? Are you asking, well, I mean, when Robert De Niro gained a bunch of weight to play Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull 40 years ago or 42 years ago, I can understand why that was a big deal. But now with Jonah Hill, I mean, I think I first saw him in Superbad. That was the first movie I think that I saw that I love. I love that comedy. But I'm sure he just got fed up and like, what? It's one person too many asked about his weight, and he was probably like, what the F does that have to do with my performance or this movie? And I think he just got sick of it. He's like, look, and no wonder you think that guy growing up didn't have anxiety about the way he looked, and then being a movie star and looking at his own performance. No one knows more than a person how they feel about themselves. And when people are constantly bringing up the one thing that you probably thought more about than anything else about your appearance, and finally you just kind of get to a point and be like, man, you know what? I'm just going to do my work and let my work speak for itself.
Yeah, right.
He looks good in that photo.
Why are you pointing at Jonathan?
I meant like Jonah Hill. I mean,
Jonathan always looks good. Look, he's a handsome devil.
I clean up well,
Jonah Hill. I love everything he's in. He makes me laugh. I thought he was the best part of Don't Look Up, which I like that movie.
He was really good in that.
I meant, you just got to leave the brother alone. If he has problems, then just enjoy what he gives us. But he does look good when he's walking in that photo. I should start trying to get on that diet.
Kind of fine.
I can finally touch my first woman.
I think he
probably
surfs my first woman.
Maybe you should go on a USO tour.
He surfs daily. He's massively into. He loves skateboarding. He loves, Anyway, listen, at the end of the day, I applaud the guy for doing what's good for him. As long as he's forthright with whoever his potential employers would be, no problem. So, yeah, I think it's all good. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about that? Do you think maybe you could do the types of stuff that some of these actors have to do, constantly being, do 50 interviews in a day, being put under a microscope, all that kind of stuff? The pressures of it are kind of big. The rewards are big. But it doesn't take away from the pressures of it. How do you guys feel about that? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now, guys, I love Manscaped. You've heard me go on and on about the Lawnmower 4.0 and that body wash. I love it so much. And so we got to ask, guys, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing, gentlemen. And you guys know Manscaped is more than just one product. They have a whole lineup of products to help you guys feeling, smelling, and looking your best. And so Manscaped is proud to present to you the Performance Package 4.0, which is the only tool that you need to keep your boys looking, smelling, and feeling good this spring. Now, to start off with, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. Guys, we have talked about this. What is wrong with us? Why have we for so long been using these terrible tools that were never meant for cutting our hair down there? The razor clipper things on our electric razors. That's barbaric, guys. You need the Lawnmower 4.0. And then there's the Weed Whacker. You guys have heard our own Ray Ora talk about this thing. He loves using it to get that hair in your nose and the ear hair. And then they offer lots of other stuff like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver. It's a spray-on toner for your balls. And of course, they've got the perfect grooming tool for your face with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on that face. So guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA. That's CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Campea at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life.